back again to round off my best to worst of The Last Airbender. This time, the best to worst of Season 3. Now, this was a difficult one. I can think of way more than 3 bests, but barely any worsts. This was such an all-rounded season, and it makes me appreciate how far this show came in its 3 seasons. There were just so many bests for this season, I'm going to narrow it down to just my top 3 favorites. Maybe there's one I missed, maybe there's one you think is better. Whatever it is, let me know down below. But without further ado, best. Zuko. Seriously, the best character arc in the entire show. I'm honestly going to make a separate video about just this, because Zuko transcended any character development that I have ever seen before. From his harsh origins to the pursuit of a singular goal. And at the moment of choice, he chose the path of evil. Now thinking he had everything he wanted, Season 3 shows us the story of pursuing a certain goal and realizing that this is not where happiness comes from. Zuko had convinced himself he wanted his father's love, the throne and the Fire Nation.
It was what I dreamed about and wanted for so many years. My father had finally accepted me back.
As he begins to realize this is not what he wants from his future, he musters the courage to face his father how he should have years and years ago. He tells him that he's going to help the Avatar and restore peace to the world.
And if we don't want the world to destroy itself, we need to replace it with an era of peace and kindness.
This conversation is so beautiful and demonstrates perfectly his struggle throughout the 3 seasons. And Zuko just has to be a best. The Agni Kai. The final Agni Kai is one of the best scenes in TV history. The contrasting of colors, the beautiful music, and the emotion on each of the characters' faces all complement each other to produce one of the most beautiful scenes I have witnessed. It truly brings together every little piece of each of their backstories. The sibling rivalry to the present day and their completely separate paths they have traveled on. Honestly, such a well done scene. I don't know what else I can say. It comes in at a best. The 4-part finale. I love how they did this. You see Sozin's Comet Part 1 and you know you've entered a thrill ride. Each episode is so different to the last, but they flow together so nicely. They complement the one before and set the scene for the one following. It is such a great way to tell a story without making me feel annoyed that the story has been split into these parts. And from the names of the episodes to the spectacular stories, Sozin's Comet was the perfect way to end The Last Airbender, and on any day you ask, I will say this is the best. Worst. Okay, now this was really hard. Really hard to find 3 things about this season that were just bad. I had to really think because the season was just so good. There were not many points I disliked, and if there were any, I feel like they were necessary to evolve the plot in the way it did. But I think I have found a few. So my first worst spot was Aang and Katara. Now just wait up a second. This isn't their relationship at the end, but the part of the relationship that felt so forced. It was one scene in particular. The Ember Island players. Aang is upset because of the play, so he asked Katara about them being together.
We kissed at the invasion, and I thought we were gonna be together, but we're not.
And then out of nowhere, he kisses her. And honestly, right here, I was not a fan of this. I can understand the story writing point of view. All of them trying to get their mind off fighting the Fire Lord and the comet coming so soon. But this really took the funny episode that was Ember Island players and it brought it down a notch. Because it just turned into this kind of sad story.
Overreacting? If I hadn't blocked my chakra, I'd probably be in the Avatar state right now.
It was a bit of fun and games and laughs until this scene, and I just went, ugh. Don't get me wrong, I think these two absolutely belong together. And their relationship is so perfect. The final episode concluded this perfectly. But throwing it in here, not a fan. No Toph story. Now, she was introduced in Season 2, and throughout she was a little bratty and stuck up, but improved to be such a core character in the end. I really wanted them to expand on her more, but they just didn't. Katara had the Southern Raiders, Sokka the Boiling Rock, and Aang had the original Firebenders and obviously the finale. But Toph, just nothing. I mean, they even pulled a little joke in here about her not going on a life-changing trip with Zuko.
Everyone else went on a life-changing field trip with Zuko. Now it's my turn. This is the worst field trip ever.
And that was a little fun that they're self-aware of it, but I really wish they had just done something for her, because then it would have rounded off each and every character nicely before coming to the conclusion. I guess there was the runaway, but this didn't develop Toph's character nearly as much as the others did for their respective episodes. And the episode kind of started out as Toph's episode, but then as we moved on, it basically became about Katara and her learning to let go of the control over everyone's life and just be a little freer. And so Toph just didn't get as much development as I would have liked. And so I'm gonna put this on the worst. Now I really had to put my brain to the test. I had to think and think and think, and I just couldn't think of another worst spot. Maybe I'm a little biased towards this show, but I feel like Season 3 was so good in so many ways, it didn't do much wrong. Now there are those people who didn't like Ember Island players, or some people who didn't even like Nightmares and Daydreams. But I enjoyed those because it was a well-deserved break from the story, and it didn't feel forced like Season 1. Maybe you have some worst that I missed, maybe you don't. Let me know down below. But overall, I can say Season 3 was truly the pinnacle of animated entertainment. And I seriously doubt any show can reach these heights again. But I hope they do. And with that, I'm gonna end it there. Let me know down below your best to worsts, and let's have a discussion about it. My name is Rohan, subscribe for everything Avatar, and until next time.
I'm just looking for some balance and some trust. I'm just looking for some mutual love, but all I get is unrequited. While my world always on fire, never chilly. I used to hate the serious, I used to be so silly, but I'm not a kid no more. No, I'm not a kid.